if you have trouble memorizing or understanding all of the candlestick patterns and it's confusing, whatever that I'm teaching you today, you will be able to memorize and understand the psychology of every single candlestick. Because the main thing that I'm going to teach you today is how to read candlesticks, not just the basics, but the psychology behind every single shape that you see, every single pattern that you see. So that when you eventually see a candlestick pattern with a weird name that you have never heard of, you understand, okay, it's going to go up. First thing first, get the basics right, okay? A lot of you still get it wrong sometimes. So for a bullish candlestick pattern, a lot of times in the charts it will be green or white, okay? So for a green candlestick pattern, you would have the open being at the bottom, okay? So during the whole entire session, what happens is that buyers push the price all the way up to this level, this high over here. This is called the candlestick high, meaning it went all the way up there. Maximum during that time frame. So if you are trading 1 hour time frame, during that 1 hour, it went all the way up to that high. Buyers, sellers have a tug of war from this range, from the high, all the way to the low. So it's like going up and down in this range. Through the body, through the shadow, and eventually it closed right here. Meaning buyers won. You would have a bullish bias when you see that buyers close above. In other words, you see a green candle, right? So this rectangle over here is your candlestick body, and the bottom over here is your lower wick or lower shadow. So this means that for a red candle, just flip it around. This two, just flip this two around. Flip it, okay? So meaning that this would be the open, this would be the close, because it makes sense, right? During the session, open over here, then tug of war again, tug of war. Okay, during the session, tug of war in between the high and low, in between, never going beyond. Then eventually, sellers won and then push the price down to this close. And you see a red candle, and some people, when they use black and white chart, it will be a black candle. So you will have a bearish bias. Before I go further, just a reminder to people, this video is for smart traders, my followers, not for stupid, idiotic keyboard warriors with no life. It's not my fault that your IQ is low. So this is the framework that you need to follow in order for you to memorize and understand all the candlestick patterns that you see on your chart easily without having to memorize all the names. First thing first, you gotta follow this sequence, okay? A lot of beginners, based on my experience of speaking in different countries, meeting different traders, I realized that they tend to mix it all up or don't care about any of this stuff. So be different. So first thing first, you gotta take note of the body size, particularly, and the wicks, okay? So let's start with the body size first. So assuming the wicks of these candlesticks are the same, okay? Are the same. The only difference is the size of the body. So for a bullish candle, you can see a big body and a small body. To help you remember things easier, just think of a big muscle man, okay, as the big candle, and a small underweight man as the small candle. So when you have a big bullish candle, it tells you that there is strong buying pressure. Then for the small candle, the buying pressure is very weak, okay? Very weak. So it's like, might as well be like indecisive. So a lot of times it represents indecision or a very weak buying pressure that you shouldn't even care about. But of course it depends on context later on, okay? Later on. But for now, the red candlestick, big body, red candlestick would be strong selling pressure. Now, don't care about the wick length first because later I might talk about that, okay? Just focus on the body right now. And again, for the small candlestick, there's a lot of indecision in the small red candlestick because it's weak selling pressure. So, very little buying activity, very little selling activity, buyers dominating the market, sellers dominating the market. So candlestick bodies tell you one thing. Domination, world domination. Who is dominating right now? Now, every single candlestick that you look at, you can ask yourself this. Who is dominating right now? Is it buyers or sellers? So this means that when you see a candlestick with no body, okay? So it's like wick, then the body is like this, a straight line, okay? This is what we call a doji pattern, meaning it is super indecisive. The smaller the body, the more indecisive it is. The bigger the body, the stronger the man, the more pressure he has, the more domination he has. So right now, how about wicks? There are 4 main variations that you see. Of course, it comes in different forms, but assuming that these 4 body sizes are the same, the only difference is the wick length and where it appears. Okay, so let's say you have a small candlestick body, alright, meaning very weak buying or selling pressure. What happens if it has a small wick? Small lower shadow, small upper shadow. Okay, first thing first, you can understand what does wick shadows represent. Wicks shadows or wicks equals rejection. I'm not gonna let you go there. So basically, buyers come all the way up here, then sellers be like, I'm not going to let you go there. It rejects the buyers, then it push it back down. Alright, so the longer the wick, the stronger the rejection. The longer the wick, the more indecisive it is, because it's like, where are you going? I'm going up and up and up, 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 up. Where the heck are you going? Then it comes back down, it's gonna take a long time. So should I come back down or not? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Then it's like indecisive. For a small candlestick with short wick, okay, it's like done. So it's more decisive as compared to a candlestick with a long wick. So this candlestick is more decisive as compared to this candlestick, okay? Meaning the chances of a price U-turning is going to be higher when there's more indecision. But whether a candlestick pattern is going to cause a reversal or not, it still comes down to this very important thing called context. Later I'll talk more about that, okay? But if the context is the same for these two, this is more likely going to cause a reversal as compared to this one. So this is what we call a spinning top, when you have wicks in both the upper side as well as the lower side, okay? So what happens when there's a wick on top and there's a wick at the bottom and no wicks here and here, okay? So this represents bearish rejection. So when you see a candlestick like this, and a lot of people call this the shooting star, it is more of a bearish candlestick pattern than a bullish candlestick pattern. But it depends on where it appears on the chart still, okay? And over here, this would be a bullish rejection because the bulls came in and pushed the price up and be like, sellers, I'm not going to let you in. So who won? Buyers here. Who won? Sellers here. So a lot of people will say this is a hammer candlestick pattern, and some people will say this is a hanging man pattern. But in my opinion, this is more of a bullish candlestick pattern than a bearish candlestick pattern. So then, what happens if the upper wick is shorter than this? If everything remains the same, okay? If everything remains the same, meaning the body size, and the candlestick color, which one would be a stronger bearish candlestick? Think about this first before I give you the answer. Long wick. What's happening? Think of how far sellers have to push the price down. How much strength do they need to have to push the price from all the way up here to all the way down here? Okay? Whereas for this one, only have to be like, which one requires a stronger selling pressure? This one. So which one is a stronger bearish candlestick? Which one is more likely to cause price to go down? This one. Then for this one, you already know. Flip it around. If the lower wick is short, buying pressure is not that strong. Lower wick is long, longer it is. Okay, buyers have to push. Oh my God, so hard. Push the price all the way up a long distance before it could close right here. Agree with me? So this will be a stronger bullish candlestick pattern as compared to a candlestick pattern with a small wick at the bottom. So now how about the relationship between different candles? Now this is where all the fancy names of double candlestick and triple candlestick comes in. I already told you, you don't need to memorize. Remember what I taught you just now? When you really look at the relationship between the 2 or 3 candlesticks, you will understand. Remember, the key question we need to ask is who won? Who dominated? Once you understand the psychology behind it, you can throw away your candlestick poster. Now this pattern, okay? Now I want you to look at the most recent pattern. Emphasize more on that, okay? Right here. Most recent pattern is this bullish candlestick pattern. Close above the midway point of the previous candle. Piercing line, okay? Did buyers dominate the sellers? As long as it closes above, okay? Closes above midpoint or beyond, you can say that buyers have came in and dominated. Next one, most recent candle. Did buyers dominate the small little bearish candlestick pattern? Yes. So this is a bullish candlestick pattern. Okay. This is also a bullish candlestick pattern. Now this is the tricky part. The most recent candle is smaller than the previous big large candle. So does this mean that this is a bullish candlestick pattern because this one dominated this one now? Here's the thing. Remember, the emphasis is on the most recent candle in relation to the previous candle. Yes, buyers dominated this one, but the bearish candlestick is the most recent one. So this means that a little bit of sellers came in, meaning sellers are starting to come in right here. And because a candlestick with a small body would mean that selling pressure is weak, so we need to wait for more sellers to come in. So this means that the best thing to do for this kind of pattern is to wait for the next stronger bearish candlestick pattern as a confirmation. Then this would be a bearish candlestick pattern. Okay, so small body, wait. So this one would be your bearish harami pattern, which is weaker than the bearish engulfing pattern. Alright, so let's get to this pattern. Okay, big red candle, small green candle, big green candle. Who is dominating now? Obviously close above the big red candle, right? Who's dominating? Green candle, buyers. So will this be a bullish or bearish candlestick pattern? Bullish candlestick pattern. Morningstar pattern. Apply this concept into any candlestick pattern that you see. You'll be able to understand the psychology behind it. When this candle gaps up, the more bullish it is. A lot of times you'll see candlesticks, okay, gapping up, okay, then the stronger the bullish signal. Covering up previous candle, dominating. Smaller than the previous big candle, hesitation. Gapping up or gapping down, strong buying pressure or strong selling pressure if it gaps down. Now context is really important. Now what happens when you feed a high-end Lamborghini with cheap fuel? What happens? It's not going to perform the way you want it to be. You cannot flex with it no matter how hard you try. Candlestick patterns, just like property, location, location, location. Specifically context. For buying pressure, candlestick patterns. Okay? You want to trade them in a nice uptrend. Why can't you trade it in a sideways ranging market? The market is already telling you that it is indecisive. Okay? And uptrend is already telling you that the buying pressure is stronger. So if you put a strong bullish candlestick pattern with strong buying pressure in a market that is indecisive, guess what's going to happen? Rising tide raises all boats, right? Sideways tides sinks all boats. Okay, I just made that up, but then you get my point, right? Buying pressure, you want that demand zone in that area or the support zone to be strong, right? Add this with strong volume, okay? Because if the volume is weak as hell, it might give you a lot of false signals, especially when you trade stocks. This is very important. Volume. Even for breakouts, right? If there's a breakout with weak volume, chances are the breakout is going to be fake. If there's a breakout in chart patterns, in resistance, with high volume, chances are the breakout is going to work out, right? So you want all these things to be on your side. Selling pressure, you want to trade in a downtrend, no sideways market, it's going to be risky, do it at your own risk, okay? If you like gambling, do it. You want a strong ceiling, resistance zone, okay? A strong ceiling or a strong supply zone. By the way, there's such a thing as a weak and strong support resistance zone. If you don't miss out on that video, which I'm going to make in the next few weeks, subscribe so you don't miss out on that, okay? High volume. Of course, because a lot of times it's not a breakout, you're just trading a trend, volume would be relatively less important as compared to these two criteria, okay? Because volume for breakouts, super important. But when you're trading the trend, a lot of times you will see fluctuating volume. So it would be a bonus if you see high volume. That's all I'm trying to say. If you want a more comprehensive candlestick trading video, I'll put it somewhere over here on this screen. And with that, I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.